In the apocalypse, we believed one truth above all. The virus that reduced the world to shambles was a disease, a biological contagion, something rooted in science and flesh. It spread like wildfire, turning humanity into the walking dead. But what if everything we thought we knew was a lie? The truth, hidden beneath layers of fear and misinformation, was far darker and more intentional than we ever imagined. 10 years into the outbreak, survivors had carved out a fragile existence amid the chaos. One of them, Dr. Elena Parks, a virologist from the Centers for Disease Control, had spent her life searching for answers, a cure, or even just an understanding of what went so horribly wrong. But the more she studied the undead, the more inconsistencies she found. Infection didn't spread quite like it should. There were no mutations, no patterns in the virus's genetic structure. Hell, it didn't even behave like a virus at all. It was almost too perfect, too precise. And then there was patient zero. Last month, she, along with a makeshift crew of scavengers, tracked rumors of a supposedly untouched government facility buried deep in the Appalachian Mountains. When they arrived, it was eerily intact. No rogue walkers, no signs of struggle, just sterile white walls and dormant systems waiting to be unearthed. Deep within the labyrinth of the facility, they found it. A file labeled Project Lazarus. It wasn't a treatment program, as Elena had hoped. It wasn't medical at all. It was an experiment. The virus, she discovered, wasn't a virus. It wasn't biological. It was technological. At first, the concept was too staggering to accept. The Walking Dead weren't a product of nature. They were a product of code, a neural override program. Each infected was, in reality, a hijacked biological entity, minds drowned in synthetic signals transmitted at a microscopic level. It wasn't evolution, it was engineering. Someone somewhere had flipped a switch and turned humanity into their own personal chessboard. As she spoke, the group of hardened survivors fell into stunned silence. The question hung in the air like a knife. Who did this? And more importantly, why? But there was a catch. The deeper secret burned in Elena's chest like a brand. The transmission signal. It was still active. Whatever force had created the apocalypse wasn't dormant. Commands were still being sent, tweaking walker behavior. That moment you thought walkers were learning, adapting. It wasn't nature. It was intent.
If this isn't biological, can we stop it?
Elena hesitated, her eyes filled with the haunting weight of uncertain hope.
If we can find the source of the signal, maybe. But we'd be up against something far beyond walkers and fear.
Whatever's behind this has the power to control every mind, living or dead. The settlement agreed they would go for the source, but at what cost? As they moved closer to uncovering who or what had flipped the switch on humanity, walkers began behaving strangely, almost strategically. Roads that were once clear became traps. Herds moved as if they had purpose. And the unsettling realization set in. Whatever intelligence controlled the walkers, whatever was hosting the virus, knew they were coming. What had started as a war for survival became a battle for freedom. Freedom from control, from manipulation, from annihilation. They weren't just fighting to preserve humanity anymore. They were fighting to reclaim it. But as they found themselves on the precipice of the final confrontation, Elena discovered one last horrifying twist. The signal didn't originate from Earth. It had never been terrestrial. The survivors knew they were on the brink of a confrontation unlike any other. Their mission had transformed from a fight for survival to a quest to reclaim their autonomy from forces beyond their understanding. They understood now that their fight was not just against the walkers, but against the unseen puppeteer pulling the strings from the stars. Together, they would face the unknown, determined to break free from the chains of manipulation and reclaim their humanity.